Well, all right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. It's your buddy CJ here. And tonight, we're talking about all things automotive industry, the car guy hobby, cars, all the things that those real gearheads love talking about. Real gearhead talk. It's been said before. This is the place to be for that real gearhead talk. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back, all my subscribers. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. You guys know that. If you're new around here, listen, guys, we're gearheads. We're real car guys. We love talking about cars and looking at cars, driving cars. All right? That's what we're into. Automotive events, road trips, destinations, rallies, car meets, automotive developments in the industry. That's what it's all about right here with your buddy CJ. And guys, tonight's episode, well, listen, we're going to have a bit of fun. We are going to talk about the Corvette ZR1, C8 ZR1, getting ready to come out. I'm going to tell you what I think about it now in February of 2025. Now that there's a bit more information available, the specs, further details about the car, pricing details, etc., a bit about availability. I'm just going to share kind of my candid thoughts where I'm at with the new Corvette ZR1, and am I buying a Corvette ZR1? I will answer that question, and I'll also share my humble opinion, my candid thoughts about whether or not I think you should buy a Corvette ZR1. Now, guys, around here, you know the rules. Listen, it's the free and open exchange of car guy opinions, right? And we're all entitled to our opinions. The only rule around here is you can disagree with me, but you got to leave your comments. Leave me those comments, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I got anything wrong. Let me know if you feel differently about the new Corvette ZR1, or if you think I left out any important details. So going to keep it brief, going to keep it fun. Let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Corvette ZR1, what does your buddy CJ think? So first things first, let's take a look at it. Guys, what are we talking about here? The new Corvette C8 ZR1, getting ready to come out. This is a special car. This is a special Corvette, okay? We're talking about that C8 platform, mid-engine, flat plane crank V8, high rev, twin turbo. We're talking about a car out of the factory with some 1,000 horsepower and over 800 foot-pounds of torque. Rear-wheel drive, mid-engine, high-performance, super sports car, right? If you're looking at a C8 Z06, close to 700 horsepower, okay? This thing's at least 300 horsepower over a C8 Z06, okay? So now the bad news, okay? You're talking about a Chevrolet Corvette that new MSRP is going to start at about $175,000 and cap out at about $200,000, just under $200,000. Factory MSRP for a Corvette. Now, a lot of people will say, well, CJ, look at some of the supercars. Their starting MSRP is a lot higher, and that's true. But we're not talking about other supercars. We're talking about a Chevrolet Corvette. So we're talking about an upmarket, special, super high performance Corvette. Okay? Guys, what can you say, right? I mean, this is an incredible machine. And if you look at some of the initial track testing, the lap times with the new ZR1, it's impressive and it's record breaking. Now, listen, side note, how long do we think the Porsche guys, the guys at Porsche, are going to allow the C8 ZR1, a Chevrolet, be the top performing car around whatever track? Pick a track internationally where benchmarked lap times matter. C8 is steady smoking them right now. C8 ZR1, go Chevy, go bow tie boys, right? That's great to see. But make no mistake, Porsche is coming for you. Porsche is coming for you, ZR1. And I think these are exciting times. You guys tell me. But ain't no way Porsche going to let the Chevy boys beat them around the laps, okay? Around the track. That's just not happening. And if you think it's going to stay that way, Chevy boys, and listen, I've owned a lot of Chevys in my day. Heck, I got one in my garage right now. I love it. I love to see the ZR1 on top. All I'm saying is get ready. Get loaded. They're getting locked and loaded. They're coming for you, ZR1 Porsche. Ford GTD, how's that going to do? Let's not even go there. I'm not talking about that GTD. And I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter because Ford rejected my application. Ford, you out there? Why y'all reject my application for the GTD? Come on. Guys, you know I would have bought that GTD and I would have driven the wheels off that car. A lot of these guys going to buy them and they're going to keep them museum pieces, whatever. Not your buddy CJ. I drive my cars. And I thought that GTD was pretty cool. But anyway, Ford didn't accept my application. Let's get back to the ZR1. Guys, what do I think here? Couple things, okay? Number one, this car will be extremely constrained, okay? What do I mean by that? Unless your name is Mr. Rick Hendrick, unless you're one of the super rich, elite rich, collectible, collectors with super connections within the Chevrolet General Motors community, within the dealership, deep, intimate relationships with the dealerships, it's going to be hard to get one. I don't know how many they're going to make. I'm on a couple of lists for a ZR1. I've had a couple dealerships just say to me, yo, CJ, it's probably not going to happen in the near term. So my first piece of advice to you is, unless you're willing to wait a couple, 3 years at least, or unless you have cash to burn to pay over market, you may want to second guess your decision to buy a ZR1. Setting aside the ridiculous performance numbers, and the fact that it is the ultimate king of the hill Corvette right now. Listen, they're going to be constrained. They're going to be rare. Secondly, I would say to that point, and this second point kind of relates to the first, you have to decide if you want a $200,000 car or not. What do I mean by that? CJ, you're stating the obvious. Well, am I? Because I talk to a lot of people. I'm out there. I'm in the automotive community. I have tons of friends in the industry across the country and across the globe, for that matter, in other businesses that I'm involved with who are legit car guys. Some high-end car guys, some not so high-end, and some more everywhere in between. And what I can tell you, the most common reaction I get when we talk about Corvettes in general is, well, hey, CJ, how about that new ZR1? I'm waiting for the new ZR1. I think most of those guys that claim that they're waiting for a ZR1 will never buy a ZR1. Let's go back in time. I'm going to tell you a story. Your buddy CJ going to tell you a story. So come on, take a seat and listen here while I preach this knowledge. Many years ago, did you know? Truth. Your buddy CJ was one of the first guys with a Dodge Challenger SRT 392. I had a special one, people. I'm not kidding you. It was header orange or Hemi orange. Don't hold me to that. I can't remember. It's been a while. Had the pistol grip manual shifter. Okay. Had the special wheels on it. Had the black stripes, the dual black stripes. This car was badass at every level. Okay. This car turned heads. All right. And this is at a time, see, you got to put everything into context as I tell you this story, because you say, CJ, nobody cares about a Dodge Challenger. Nobody cares about seeing a Dodge Challenger. It's regular traffic. They're all over the road, and I will be the first to agree with you. But at this time, 2010, 2011, 2012, that was still an uncommon car, people. Fairly uncommon. Not a lot of people had them. And nobody had the one I had. Like that car, like, popped. It looked like the General Lee coming down the street. It was your buddy CJ. And those that know me know it's true. If you were around back then. So when I would go to car events or just be hanging out, pumping gas, whatever, or in a parking lot someplace, and people would come up to me, they want to talk to me about my Dodge Challenger SRT. You know what the number one thing people said to me? The haters in the automotive community, and you all know, if you were really in the automotive community, you know how it is. Oh, CJ, I'm waiting for the Hellcat. At the time, the Hellcat was like a rumor. But you know how many of them fellas, some I knew, and I still know, some were just random acquaintances. Oh, CJ, yeah, this is cool, but how about the Hellcat? The Hellcat's going to be better than this, CJ. I'm waiting for the Hellcat. Fast forward. You know how many of those guys bought a Hellcat? Most of them did not buy a Hellcat. Still, to this day, it's 2025. Why do I say that? You know, I think with all of the hype and a lot of people out there aspirationally saying that they want to get a ZR1, it's a $200,000 car. It's constrained. It's going to be constrained for years. Most of the folks who claim that they want a ZR1 are going to get it. They're not getting a ZR1. So newsflash, my update for you is if you're in the sound of my voice, you are probably not getting a C8 ZR1. Not in the next 2 years, not in the next 3 to 5 years. I don't know I don't know the volumes with which they're going to create them. I do know that there will be ZR1 mania, and they will be getting flipped and turned on the secondary market. And what do we know about dealers? Dealers aren't going to play. Dealers, for 100 reasons, are going to add markups to those ZR1s. So unless you're a guy who has a history of overspending on cars, raise your hand, including your buddy CJ. Let's be blunt. You're going to have to overspend to get a ZR1. So that $175,000, yeah, there'll be no $175,000 ZR1s. None. It'll be almost hard to spec your ZR1 that way, because if you really spec it for you, you're going to want options. So that $190,000 to $210,000 ZR1, whatever, is going to be $240,000 to $260,000 in the first year or so with dealer markups and everything else, maybe more. And then it'll be getting flipped on the secondary market, and the super rich guys will be trading them. Okay? So your average car guy and Corvette guy is probably not a $200,000 to $300,000 car guy. And some of you watching this video may be, and you'll say, CJ, that doesn't apply to me. But the vast majority of anyone who's historically owned Corvettes, just as like a fun car on the weekends or cruising around, you ain't buying no C8 ZR1 unless you're willing to step up $200K, $225K, $260K. Okay? And a lot of those same people, I share the story about my Dodge Challenger because it's been true 100 times over the years. It's been true 100 times over the years. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a Hellcat when it comes out, CJ. None of those guys got Hellcats. Very few, right? It's just the way it is in the automotive community. So what I'm telling you is, are you that guy, or are you the guy that's going to say, I don't care what it takes, CJ, I'm going to buy the ZR1? Only you can answer that question. I can't answer it for you. But one, are you willing to wait? More on that in a minute. Two, are you willing to buy a $200,000 car? And then the third point is, are you willing to pay a premium? Now, a bit about these premiums and markups. Supply and demand. I know how much hate and irrational thought and opinion there is out there about paying over MSRP. I'm the biggest cheapskate you know, all right? Your buddy CJ likes a deal, and I'm a business guy, right? So I don't like getting a bad deal on anything, on milk, on bread, on a house, on computer equipment, or cars. But having said that, I don't buy cars as an investment per se. Okay? For me, it's a bit of enjoyment. And I think for the vast majority of you out there, you know, in the hobby, most of you buy cars for enjoyment. Yes, some of us buy and sell cars and flip them from time to time. Some of us may buy cars, fix them up, flip them, make a few bucks. Some of us buy cars truly as an investment that is going to increase in value over time, perhaps. But the vast majority of automotive enthusiasts have never made a buck on a car. Okay? If you're out there in the sound of my voice and you've owned Corvettes, and I've owned several, I've owned just about everything you could imagine, right? Like, not everything, but a lot over the years as a lifelong car guy. I've made money on cars maybe twice, 3 times. I lost money on every other vehicle I ever owned. Okay? I'm being honest with you. I'm being real. You know your buddy CJ always keep it real, right? So if you really want a ZR1, right, you may or may not have an asset that's going to appreciate over time. Let's say you pick one up for $220,000. Well, this is a special Corvette, CJ, you know, and I think it's going to appreciate. It's going to be worth $400,000, going to be worth $600,000, going to be worth whatever. That's speculation. That's not investment. That's really speculation, because what we don't know is what the Chevy machine will do with it. The Chevy manufacturing powerhouse. Okay? Chevy can crank out some cars. How many ZR1s are they going to make? How many Z06s? How many Stingrays? I can't answer that question with confidence. Not sure. But what I can tell you is there's a high probability that you're going to lose over time on your Corvette. The vast majority of Corvettes that have ever been sold, newsflash, in the modern era, newsflash, the vast majority of Corvettes that have ever been sold have depreciated over time and will never go up again. They just won't. Like, yeah, there are collectible Corvettes, but, you know, some of those cars that were hot when they came out, Father Time has not been kind to them. And it's very difficult to predict, and it's very speculative. Okay? So it is easy to sit here and say the ZR1 is the game changer, and there are no bad investments in a Corvette ZR1. I don't know if that's true or not. So I also don't know, you know, if you really want one, you know, and you say, well, I'll never pay $1 over MSRP. It's just not worth it. Well, you're going to lose anyway. I got news for you. Every car out there in your driveway, I'll bet every car in your driveway is depreciating right now. How many of you have a host of cars in your driveway that are just going up in value? What you think? This hobby is a cash cow, is a cash generator? No, it's an expense for most of us. So, you know, the point being, why wouldn't dealers leverage supply and demand to make a buck when they can? And you can speak with your feet. You don't have to buy a car with a dealership markup, right? But don't get mad at the dealers. If you were in the car dealership business, what are you going to take the moral high ground of integrity artificially and say, oh no, I will not mark it up? Listen, that's business, people. Supply and demand. Remember, MSRP, big misconception about MSRP, people. What is MSRP? Manufacturer's suggested retail price. Okay? There's no law that says the dealer has to sell you the car at MSRP, whether it's a ZR1 or a Porsche 911 GT3 RS, okay? Or a Ferrari fill in the blank, or a Lamborghini whatever. They don't have to sell you that car at MSRP, and you don't have to buy it at above MSRP. They may negotiate down with you, okay? You may get the deal of the century, but you may have to pay up to get it. Either way, you may end up losing. You may end up losing on that car, is my point. So any automotive purchase, for the most part, as a hobbyist, is speculative at best, but you will probably lose. Newsflash, if nobody's told you lately, your buddy CJ will give it to you straight. You are probably not investing in anything. You're just adding expense, and you'll probably lose on the car. Tough. It's tough. You know, listen, you could say, well, CJ, look at the Ford GT. Okay? Yeah, I mean, listen, big collectible cars. Will that market continue to do this? I don't know. Will it flatten out? Will it plateau? But that's also a rich guy car now, right? Like it's not your average guy, your average hobbyist's car. Those for years now, Ford GTs have been investment grade cars. How I would categorize them. How many average regular car guys you see driving around in a Ford GT? Like none. That's right. How many average car guys do you see driving around in Corvettes? Thousands across the country, across the globe. How many are willing to go up market for a ZR1? $200,000 plus car for the first couple years? Don't know. You know, I had a guy say to me recently, well, CJ, the C8 market is crashing. It's unbelievable. To which I responded, are you new to this game? Corvette market has done that for years, for decades. I've been in this hobby a long time. I've seen it all, right? Like when the C5 Corvette came out, who remembers that? 1997? Okay. C5 Corvette came out. You would have thought, you know, they were shipping Ferraris with Chevy badges on them. And in some ways, they were revolutionary, and maybe they were at the time. The champion of the U.S. sports car market, no doubt. Now, having said that, over time, what's happened to those same C5s that were the hottest cars on the planet? And everybody had to have one if you were anybody. Okay, kind of became regular traffic, right? Like, kind of became like C5s now. You see them everywhere, right? C5 Corvettes. It's not that history has been unkind to the C5 Corvette. It's just that the hobby has moved on. And no doubt there is still a market for those. Please don't misunderstand. I love a C5. I think they're cool cars. I still love the flip-up headlights. Come on. But let's be real. Not every C5 was a great investment. In fact, the vast, vast majority of them were bad investments. Bad investments, but fantastic cars and fun for the hobbyist. Keep in mind who you're talking to here. A guy who's bought, sold just about any car I've ever wanted now at this point, and I'm still in it, still going. Not mad at you, but let's be real. Like, you know, there's nothing new under the sun about a highly cyclical and volatile and generally what I'll call depreciative, okay, value model for Corvettes. The vast majority of Corvettes have been losers from a value standpoint. Listen, I'm not talking about your 60 whatever split window fuel-y special. Of course, you know, year one VIN, the first 5 VINs of the new ZR1 in 1990, but that's not what I'm talking about. Okay? I'm talking about in general. So, a couple things to think about there. You know, now what am I doing, right? I'm on a list. I'm on multiple lists for ZR1s. If the moon's aligned right, I would buy one. But now I'm going to tell you something else. Okay? And I'm sincere and honest when I tell you this, people. If you really want a super wild, crazy, and fun Corvette, buy it now. Don't wait. Like, if you got to have a ZR1 because you got to have a C8 ZR1, well, maybe this message isn't for you. But if you just want a wild, incredible Corvette experience, oh, buddy, now is the time to buy because the market has taken a dip. I'm going to tell you, C8 Stingray, I just had this conversation with some fellas, some cool dudes I met this weekend talking about Corvettes. I had my Z06 with me. Another guy had a Stingray. Another guy was in whatever, Porsches, everything. And we're sitting around talking. And I said, listen, for you guys that are contemplating a Z06 or a Stingray, or could I possibly get a ZR1? You've got the pick of the litter right now. Z06, wild experience. I know. I bought one. I have one. Okay? The way it sounds, the way it shifts, the way it handles. Listen, you go out there, and if you think you want like the ultimate track weapon C8, you might want to go drive a C8 Z06, people. If you're actually looking for a car to drive, your C8 ZR1 is going to be considered such a hot collectible. Oof, I cringe when I even say that. It's going to be desirable by collectors in the first couple of years and super high premium car buyers. You know, for that additional 300 or so horsepower, you know, you could wait maybe, wait for a stroke of luck to get one at a price that makes sense and all those other things. Or you could act now and buy a Z06 that's maybe come down in value a few points, okay? Because of some macro things going on in the market. And you have a ridiculously hot Corvette right now. Stingray market. Are you kidding me? A good example of how the Chevrolet Uber manufacturing machine has gotten behind a platform in the C8. Any option you could want in a C8 Stingray. And the cars are ridiculously fast and quick and about as much fun as you can have. Okay? And they're modern and they're cool looking. You've got the pick of the litter out there in a C8 Stingray. Okay, the one thing I'll tell you, a couple things. And I've said this before on this channel, I'll say it here. C8 Stingray versus C8 Z06. My number one piece of advice, people ask me all the time, CJ, you've owned both. What's the difference? Don't drive the C8 Z06 if you think you want a Stingray, because the C8 Z06 will ruin the Stingray for you. Stingray is a fantastic car. Okay, I had a lot of fun with my C8 Stingray Z51, the options I wanted, torch red. Oh my God, I love that car. Carbon fiber, removable roof. It was a really cool spec. And I drove that car, road trips, rallies, motorsports events everywhere. I did some track stuff with it, limited, and some drag strip stuff. Very fast off the line, but she runs out of legs, people, about halfway down the quarter mile. What's the difference with the C8 Z06? She don't run out of legs, people. C8 Z06 comes to life 60 to 120. It runs 10s out of the factory. 10 seconds. You're in the 10 seconds, 10, 10, 5, 10, 4, whatever the hell it is. Whereas like my C8 Stingray Z51, I think the best I ever did on a drag strip was in the 11 somewhere. It's 11.3, 11.7. I don't remember. It's somewhere. I have the slip. I wouldn't lie to you, people. C8 Z06, goodbye. I'm leaving the station. The train is leaving the station. Let's just say in certain situations, having fun, 60 to 120, you're not hanging with me. Very few cars, factory stock, are hanging with the C8 Z06. And they don't sound like it, and they don't shift like it, and they don't handle like it. Now, don't hate on me, Porsche people or whatever people who aren't going to agree with me. I don't care. That's my experience. Having a little bit of fun. But that's the primary difference. Like, they're both fantastic cars. They're both fast cars. They're both quick cars. But if you want extreme off the chain, you go with Z06. If you're good with just like the cruiser, get a regular C8 Stingray with all the options you want. And you'll be thrilled with both. But the Z06 will ruin the Stingray for you. The ZR1, what do I think about that? The additional aggressive styling, the additional horsepower. It's just going to be a Z06 with even more top end. I think it's going to be more harsh. I haven't driven one yet. I think the new C8 ZR1 is going to be more harsh and rigid and more extreme. But I got a question for you. When was the last time you did 120 miles an hour? When was the last time you did 140, 160, 180? When was the last time you were doing hot laps at VIR or the Nürburgring or what have you? Like, I say that sincerely. Like, how much car do you need? How much car do you need to have fun? And the answer might be, CJ, a C5 weekend cruiser with 50,000 miles on it, and I just hear that V8 rumble, I'm happy. Right on, brother. I can relate. I'm with you. You want something modern, maybe a C7. You like that long nose. Some of my boys like them cars with the long hoods. And I agree, C7 is an incredible car. That's you, brother. Get a Grand Sport, get a Z06, get a Stingray. They're all great. Okay, I want a C8. Well, CJ, I just want something my wife and I can cruise around in on the weekends, maybe a road trip here and there. That Stingray going to be fantastic. It's not going to be good. It's going to be great. Okay? And you can get into one of those for $50,000, $70,000. Brand new, maybe spend a little more money, get everything you want with a warranty. Okay? If you want extreme, ridiculous track weapon for the streets, that's your Z06. It sounds wild with that flat plane crank V8. Okay? Now we're getting into an area, though, where how much car do you need? How much do you want? Because, yeah, are you willing to spend $200,000 for a Corvette? Knock, knock, reality check. You willing to buy a $200,000 Corvette? How about $250,000? How about $300K with dealer markups? You willing to spend that? Yes? Okay. Do you want to spend that on a Chevy? That's another question. And then lastly, I ask you, how much do you need? Like McLaren 720S, one of the fastest cars on the road. Porsche 911 Turbo or Turbo S, one of the fastest cars on the road. Other examples, and they're out there today and they're available. And depending on the year and model, you might be able to do a lot better because it's already taken the worst of that depreciation curve. Do you really need a Chevy Corvette ZR1 at 1,000 horsepower? And when are you, I'm talking to you, average car guy, average Corvette guy, when are you going to use 1,000 horsepower? Newsflash. Let your buddy CJ fill you in. Listen, I've done a lot of things over the years with cars and trucks and airplanes. That's a whole nother story. And I'm not a mechanic, but I know quite a bit about cars, right? And I will tell you that 1,000 horsepower rating in your new Chevy Corvette ZR1, or the 800 horsepower rating in your Hellcat, Red Eye, whatever, okay? Or the 500 horsepower rating in your Porsche 911 GT3, that's at wide open throttle, or that's at the peak of the power curve as tested on a dyno or, chassis dyno or in the lab. Okay? Driving around on your way to Cars and Coffee or on your way for a road trip to the beach, you are not going to, whether your car is rated at 1,000 horsepower, 700 horsepower, 800 horsepower, 500 horsepower, 300 horsepower, you're not using that. Don't, unless you firewall the car and floor it for extended periods of time, in which case you're fitting to get pulled over, real talk. You're not using that. So why do I say that? Maybe it's a bit of a sobering thought that I want to share with you, or just some candid perspective. Like, guys, these are things you should think about. Like, if you want fun and excitement today, what is today? February 24th, 2025. Okay? If you want to get a wild Corvette, what are you waiting for? If you want to get a wild high-performance car, you don't have to wait for the C8 ZR1. Don't be silly. Don't be that guy. Real talk. Don't be that guy that your buddy CJ told you about. Listen, CJ, I'm waiting for the Hellcat back in 2010 or 11, whenever that was. 2013, I don't remember. All the guys, I'm waiting for the Hellcat. I'm waiting for the Hellcat. None of those guys I know ever bought Hellcats. Don't be that guy. If you really want a goosed out high-performance sports car or muscle car, now is the time actually to buy. This is a good time. Okay, the cost of money is interest rates are a bit of an issue. They're not what they used to be. The cost of money is a bit high, but depending on many factors that you consider when looking to buy a high-performance car, the market's a bit soft right now. It is what I would consider to be a buyer's market for many of these cars right now. You could take advantage of that and buy into that, whether you want a C8 Z06 or a C7 Z06 or a 911 GT3. Well, maybe 911 is a bad example because 911 market, always strong. But even that's not as strong as it used to be for certain models. Or you want Nissan GTR. I don't know. Any of the above. McLaren. Super high performance. Dodge Challenger. Now is the time to get out there, people, and shop it around and take advantage of this. Don't sit around and be that guy burning your life away waiting for a C8 ZR1 you may never get an allocation for, or by the time you get that allocation, you may not be ready to buy at that time. If you want a sick, fun, wild Corvette, what does your buddy CJ say? Don't wait on that C8 ZR1. Fellas, we don't know how many they're going to make. We don't. And if somebody has that metric somewhere, drop it in the comments. I haven't seen it. But even if Chevy has speculated on how many they're going to make, there's no telling if that's going to be accurate. Okay? So don't wait is my advice. There's just too many great Corvettes out there. C6, C5, C7, C8. Anything you could possibly want is out there right now. So a couple final thoughts. Yes, given the opportunity, I am going to buy a C8 ZR1, but it'll have to be on my terms. I don't mind paying over market on my terms, right? If I think it makes sense for me, not necessarily as an investment, but for me as a car guy, and I want that C8 ZR1 and a dealer has an allocation for me or they have one in inventory, I'll probably buy it. If it's the right spec, the right color. That's how I bought my Z06, right? It was the right spec, the right time, and the right price that I negotiated over the course of 6 weeks. I'll tell you that story. Hit me up if you want to hear it. I did buy my C8 Z06. I negotiated for 6 weeks for that car. And I finally got it under the terms I wanted it, right? And I love it. Okay? It was the same thing with my C8 Stingray. But these are questions only you can answer. For yourself, yes, I would consider one, but I'm not holding my breath. Your buddy CJ is not holding his breath. I'm impatient, people. I'm an impatient car guy. And if opportunity manifested itself, if Mr. Rick Hendrick, or some dealership called me up and said, CJ, I got one for you. Yeah, we'll consider it. I'll probably buy it. Okay. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy this hobby with the cars I have now and potentially others that I'm looking at. I'm not sitting here waiting for a C8 ZR1, but I do want one. Come on. We all want one, fellas. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I just wanted to come on here, guys, briefly and give you some thoughts, what I think about the C8 ZR1. Incredible car, 1,000 horsepower Corvette, supercar performance. Give me a break. Guys, what do you think? Leave me those comments. Your buddy CJ loves each and every one of you. Hot Seat Automotive Podcast, the place to be for real gearhead talk. Guys, until I see you on the next one, peace.